Forget what you've seen on polished marble statues. Forget the sanitized stories of heroes and noble gods. The real history of the Greek pantheon doesn't begin with light and order. It begins in a cosmic gutter, with blood, paranoia, and a family so dysfunctional it makes the Corleones look like a suburban book club. This isn't just mythology. This is a mob story. It's the story of the original capo, the paranoid boss who did the unthinkable to keep his power, and the son who assembled a new crew to stage the bloodiest hostile takeover in the history of the universe. This is the Titanomachy, the War of the Titans. But to understand the war, you have to understand the family. And in this family, everyone has blood on their hands.
In the beginning, there was no business. There was just the territory. You had Uranus, the sky, and you had Gaia, the earth. And like any toxic relationship, they couldn't stop creating or fighting. Gaia gave birth to a flood of children, but Uranus was a tyrant, the kind of boss who hates his own crew precisely because they are his crew. He was disgusted by his first children, the Cyclops, the one-eyed master craftsmen, and the Hecantochires, the 100-handers, who were basically walking 50-headed heavy artillery. They were unseemly, bad for the image. So what does this patriarch do? Does he send them to a boarding school? No. He shoves them back into the womb of their mother. He imprisons them deep within Gaia, in the darkest pit of the earth, a place called Tartarus. Imagine the audacity. He uses his wife as his personal holding cell. Gaia, naturally, is in agony, not just physically, but emotionally. These are her children, and she plots. She's the original mob wife who's had enough. She creates the family's first piece. Not a gun, not a garrote. She forges a sickle, a curved blade made of the strongest, grayest flint. She gathers her other children, the Titans. They're the cleaner ones, the ones Uranus allowed to walk free. They're handsome, powerful, and utterly terrified of their father. Gaia lays out the plan. Your father is a monster. He has humiliated me. He has imprisoned your brothers. Tonight, we end this. They all flinch, all except one. Enter Cronus, the youngest son, the Michael Corleone of the group. He's quiet, ambitious, and he's been nursing a lifetime of resentment. He looks at his mother, looks at the sickle, and says, "I'll do it. I will take the family business for myself." That night, Uranus, the sky, descends to lie with Gaia, the earth. And as he does, Cronus and his brothers spring the trap. They hold her father down, and Cronus does the unspeakable. He takes the sickle. He castrates his own father. Uranus shrieks, his divine blood spattering the earth, creating even more monsters, the giants, the Furies. But the deed is done. The first king is deposed. As Uranus fades, he issues a dying curse, a prophecy that will define this family for eternity. He looks at his son, the new boss, and hisses, "You think you're safe? You will suffer the same fate. Your own child will one day overthrow you." Cronus takes the throne. He becomes the capo di tutti capi, the boss of all bosses. He marries his sister, Rhea, because in this family you keep power close. And he immediately proves he is his father's son. What's his first act as king? Does he free his brothers from Tartarus, the ones who were imprisoned by his father, the ones whose imprisonment was the entire reason for the coup? Of course not. He leaves them there. He leaves the Cyclops and the 100-handers to rot. Why? Because the prophecy is already eating them alive. He's not a king. He's a paranoid wreck, just like the man he replaced. This era is called the Golden Age, a time of supposed prosperity, but it's a lie. It's a golden age built on a foundation of terror, ruled by a boss who knows every single day that a clock is ticking. He's just waiting for the assassin, and he suspects that assassin will be his own son.
The family begins to grow. Cronus and Rhea have children, the first generation of a new dynasty, the ones we will one day call the Olympians. First, Hestia is born, the future goddess of the hearth, a beautiful, perfect child. Rhea presents her to Cronus, and the king looks at his daughter. He sees the prophecy. He sees the face of his potential killer. So, he does what any rational mob boss would do. He takes the newborn baby, and he swallows her whole. Rhea is frozen in horror. This isn't business. This is monstrous. But what can she do? He is the king. The cycle repeats. Demeter is born, the future goddess of the harvest. Cronus swallows her. Hera is born, the future queen. Cronus swallows her. Hades is born, the future king of the dead. Cronus swallows him. This is the most horrific family dinner in history. Cronus rules his kingdom, his belly full of his own children, his power secure. He is the ultimate patriarch, consuming his own legacy to protect his position. Rhea, meanwhile, is a broken woman. She is the mob wife, trapped in a golden cage, forced to watch her husband, driven mad by paranoia, destroy everything she creates. She is pregnant again, her 6th child, and she knows this time it has to be different. This time she will not feed the monster. She goes to the only person she can trust, her mother, Gaia, the original conspirator. Gaia, who has seen this all before, tells her the cycle must be broken. Your husband is no better than his father. You will have this child in secret. You will hide him, and you will give your husband what he wants, something to swallow. Rhea travels to the island of Crete. In a dark cave, hidden from the cosmos, she gives birth to a son, Zeus. She hands the baby to nymphs to be raised by a goat, protected by warrior spirits who clash their spears to cover his cries. Then Rhea returns to her king. She has a bundle wrapped in swaddling cloths. She presents it to Cronus. "My king," she says, her voice trembling, "our new child." Cronus, blinded by his own paranoia, doesn't even look. He doesn't check. He just sees the shape of a baby. He snatches the bundle from her arms and swallows it whole. He just swallowed a rock, the Omphalos stone. Cronus burps, satisfied. He is safe. His power is absolute. He has no idea he just sealed his own fate. He has no idea that his wife just played him for a fool. And he has no idea that his youngest son, the real threat,
is miles away, drinking goat's milk and waiting for the day he can come back to claim the family business.
Zeus grows up in the shadows. This isn't a privileged prince. He's a kid raised in hiding, a wise guy coming up on the streets of Crete, fed on stories of his imprisoned siblings and his monstrous father. He isn't just growing in strength, he's growing in rage. He's nursing a lifetime of resentment. He's the ultimate undercover boss, waiting to take over the family business. When he's finally grown, he's a force of nature, charismatic, brilliant, and utterly ruthless. He knows he can't take Cronus head on, not yet. The old god, the Titans, are too powerful. He needs a plan. He needs to get inside. He gets an ally. Some stories say it was the Titaness Metis, goddess of cunning. She provides Zeus with the tool he needs. Not a weapon, a potion. A powerful emetic mixed with mustard and wine. A cocktail designed for one specific purpose. Zeus infiltrates his father's court, some say as a cupbearer, hiding in plain sight, serving his father wine, his eyes cold and steady. The moment comes. At a great feast, Zeus presents Cronus with the special cup. A new vintage, my king. Cronus drinks deep. The effect is immediate. Cronus doubles over. His body convulses. He's choking. And then it begins. It is the single grossest and most important family reunion in history. First, Cronus vomits up the stone, the rock Rhea gave him, which lands at Delphi, a permanent monument to a mother's desperation and a husband's stupidity. And then, one by one, he vomits up his children. But they aren't babies anymore. They are fully grown. They emerge from the darkness of their father's stomach, clad in the power of their divine right. Poseidon, clutching the air, already tasting the salt of his future kingdom. Hades, shrouded in the gloom of the prison he just escaped. Hera, Demeter, and Hestia, their eyes burning with a righteous fury, decades in the making. They are alive, they are free, and they are furious. Zeus stands before them, their brother, their savior, their new boss. The battle lines are drawn. On one side, Cronus and the old god Titans who rule the cosmos. On the other, the new blood, the Olympians, 6 young angry gods who have just been reborn with one thing on their mind: vengeance. The war has begun. We are just getting to the 10-year gang war that tore the universe apart. This is the kind of history they don't teach you in school. It's bloody, it's complicated, and it's just getting started. If you enjoy digging into the dark, dysfunctional, and true stories behind mythology, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Join the crew. We got a lot more family history to uncover. All right, back to the war.
This wasn't a quick fight. This wasn't a clean coup. This was a 10-year bloody cosmic street war, a gang war for control of the entire universe. The Olympians, led by Zeus, established their base of operations on Mount Olympus. The old god, the Titans, led by Cronus and his most loyal capo, Atlas, held their territory from Mount Othrys. For a decade, the two sides tear the universe apart. It's a brutal stalemate. The Olympians are younger, faster, and angrier, but the Titans are bigger, older, and have the power of the establishment. And this wasn't a simple good versus evil fight. This was a complicated family mess. Loyalties were flexible. Not all Titans fought for Cronus. This is where the family splits. Oceanus, the god of the great river, stayed neutral. He was the civilian who didn't want any part of the war, the Switzerland of the family. And then you had the real traitors, Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus. They were titans, but they were also smart. They were consigliaries who could read the writing on the wall. They saw Cronus for what he was, a paranoid, failing boss. And they saw Zeus as the future. So they switched sides, offering their intelligence and cunning to the new crew. But even with new allies, the war is stuck. The Olympians can't land the killing blow. It's Gaia, the grandmother, the matriarch who started it all, who comes to her grandson Zeus and gives him a crucial piece of intel, the kind of tip that wins a war. She tells him, "You're strong, boy, but you're not family, not all of it. You can't win this fight without your other uncles, the ones your father left to rot." She's talking about the undesirables, the original children of Uranus, the monsters in the basement. Zeus knows what he has to do. He needs to stage a prison break. He travels down past the realm of mortals, down past the realm of Hades, all the way to the absolute bottom of creation, Tartarus, the family's dungeon. There he finds them, the Cyclops and the Hecatonchires, the hundred-handers. They have been imprisoned in darkness for eons, first by their father, then by their brother. They are pure, concentrated rage. Zeus, the ultimate politician, the ultimate Don, makes them an offer they can't refuse. He says, "I am not my father. I am not my brother. Fight for me. Help me win this war, and I will give you your freedom. I will give you revenge." He breaks their chains. The monsters are loyal to the god who frees them. The Cyclops, the master craftsmen, immediately get to work. They are the Q branch of this operation. They forge the ultimate pieces, the weapons that will define the new regime. For Hades, they craft the Helm of Darkness, a cap that makes the wearer invisible, the perfect tool for a future spy master, a capo who rules from the shadows. For Poseidon, they forge the trident, a three-pronged spear so powerful it can shatter mountains and command the seas. And for Zeus, the boss himself, they harness the very power of the sky. They give him the thunderbolt, not just a weapon, a symbol of absolute, terrifying power, the final say in any argument. And the hundred-handers? They don't need weapons. They are the weapons. They are the heavy artillery, the nuclear option. Zeus returns to Olympus not just with a plan, but with an army of monsters and a new arsenal of divine superweapons. The stalemate is over. The finale is about to begin. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades lead the final assault. It is an elemental apocalypse. Poseidon strikes Mount Othrys with his trident, and the earth itself shatters. Hades, invisible in his helm, moves unseen, terrifying the Titan ranks, dragging their soldiers down into the dark. And the hundred-handers, finally free, unleash a lifetime of rage. They rip entire mountains from their foundations and hurl them at the Titans, burying them under an avalanche of stone and fury. And then there is Zeus. He ascends into the sky, no longer a hidden prince, but the king of the cosmos. He raises his hand and for the first time wields the thunderbolt. The sky boils, the seas evaporate, the earth burns. The sheer blinding power of the bolt is too much. The Titans, for all their strength, are broken. They see a power they can't fight. They see the new boss. Cronus, the paranoid king, the child eater, is finally defeated. His reign, built on fear, ends in fire. The war is over.
Victory. But in this family, victory just means it's time to clean up.
And the Olympians are very, very good at cleaning up. This is where the original gangster theme truly comes home. What happens to the losers? Cronus and the Titans who fought against Zeus are rounded up. They are bound in unbreakable chains. And where do they go? Back to the family dungeon. Zeus throws his father, his uncles, and his cousins right back into Tartarus, the very pit they fought to control. And in a move of pure, cold-blooded mob boss poetry, he posts new gods, the Hakankachirs, the 100-handers, who were once prisoners of the Titans, are now their eternal jailers. The cycle is complete. But not everyone gets prison. Some get a special punishment. Atlas, the general, the underboss who led the Titan armies. For his loyalty to the old regime, Zeus gives him a unique burden. He is sentenced to stand at the edge of the world and hold up the sky. Forever. A permanent reminder of what happens when you bet on the wrong family. With the old guard eliminated, it's time to divide the spoils. The three brothers, the ones who started it all, the ones who survived the stomach of their father, get together to carve up the new territory. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. They draw lots, a supposedly fair way to divide the universe. Poseidon, the brother of storms, draws the sea, his own vast, uncontrollable kingdom. Hades, the eldest, the one who suffered in the dark the longest, draws the underworld, the grim, wealthy, and silent kingdom of the dead. And Zeus, the youngest son, the Michael Corleone who orchestrated the entire coup, happens to draw the heavens, the sky, the throne of the king. Funny how that works out. The new regime is in place. The Olympians won. Zeus is the new capo di tutti capi. But the story doesn't end there, because this is a mob story. And the one thing about mob stories is that the cycle never ends. Zeus, the liberator, the new king, sits on his new throne on Mount Olympus. And what is the first thing he hears? A prophecy. A prophecy that his son, born of his first wife Metis, will one day overthrow him. And what does Zeus do? The god who waged a 10-year war to punish his father for swallowing his children? He turns to Metis, he tricks her, and he swallows her whole. The dynasty is secure. The new boss is on the throne, but he is and always will be his father's son. The original gangsters didn't die. They just started a new and even more dysfunctional family. This family saga is all about cycles. Fathers fearing sons, and sons becoming their fathers. It's the ultimate mob story, and it sets the stage for every myth that comes after. Now, I have to ask you, who do you think was the real original gangster in this story? Was it the brutal tyrant Tyrannus, the paranoid patriarch Cronus, or the cold, calculating strategist Zeus? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read all of them. And thanks for surviving the family dinner.